Don't repeat drum fills.
Freebie.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Today's patron shout-out goes to Dawn Smith. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. So more and more frequently, I get contacted by folks asking, how do I improve my drums in my electronic music? And more often than not, my number one answer is to not repeat drum fills. And today I'm going to do a little bit more of a deep dive into why I feel so strongly about this topic. Now, really quick, you will see a Synthstrom deluge on the desk here in front of us. This is not a deluge-specific tutorial. I just like to use it to demonstrate drums because it's really easy to follow along, like where we are and what drums are doing what. But this will work with any kind of drums, even acoustic if you want. So what do I mean by repeating drum fills? Well, basically, I just mean taking one drum fill and inserting it into multiple places in your song, using the same thing unchanged multiple times. And it really boils down to three simple reasons as to why I say to not repeat drum fills. First of all, frankly, it's lazy, and I know that might hurt to hear, but sometimes we need to hear it. Someone needs to call us out sometimes. Our listeners, and most importantly, our music deserve better. Not repeating drum fills is just a little attention to detail thing that can really take your music and just push it up to that next level. Reason number two is that it allows you to have a bit more freedom in the other parts of your song, the other instruments. So, for instance, a bass line might get a little more leeway if you have a different drum fill than before. You might be able to sneak in a couple extra notes in that bass line, or maybe drop a few out. Long story short, you'll be able to change another part of your song based on that different drum fill. And reason number three is that forcing yourself to not repeat drum fills also forces you to get more creative with your drum fills, which is something that every drummer, acoustic and electronic, is constantly trying to do. We're always trying to improve and be more creative, and forcing yourself to come up with a new drum fill every time you want to have a drum fill in a song is a great way to do that. Now, when I say don't repeat drum fills, I don't mean they all have to be drastically different. You can even change one note, whether it be rhythmically or, what part of the kit you're hitting. It's as simple as that. You just want it to be at least a little bit different every time through. So here on the Deluge, I have prepared 4 different drum fills for you to listen to. And after that, we will come up with a bass line, and I'll show you what I mean about, changing things around the fill as well. All of these 4 patterns you're going to hear are 2 bars long. The first bar is just a drum pattern, and then the fill will be in the second bar of each pattern. Here is number 1. As you can tell, it's a really simple drum fill at the end, some 16th notes followed by a hi-hat square on the end of 4. I'll play it once through again, and then I will switch to number 2. As you can hear, all we did with this drum fill is move that hi-hat and kick drum that was on the and of 4, we moved it up to the E of 4 here. But it gives a whole different feel to the fill. It gives it really a sense of urgency, a slight unstable feeling. Now here's fill number 1. Just moving those hits 1/16th note to the left made a huge difference. Let's move on to fill number 3. This is the exact same rhythm as fill number 1, except on the downbeat of beat 4, we don't have a snare drum. Instead, we have another pairing of hi-hat and kicks. Take a listen. Here's fill number 1. I'm going to play it through once and then go to fill number 3. There's a great example of changing the actual kit pieces that we're playing rather than changing the rhythm. Now, fill number 4 is a bit different. I went a little crazy with the kick and snare drum doing doubles between presumably the left hand and the right foot if this was a real drummer. But you'll notice it still maintains the same sort of feel and integrity of the first three fills. Now I'm going to play all four back to back to back to back. It might be a little overwhelming at first, but I promise once you get into the practice of coming up with a new drum fill every time you want to have a drum fill in a song, it'll get easier fast. Okay, I promised a bass line. Let's go ahead and get a bass line in here. We'll just use this stock one. Sure. I'm going to go 2 measures long. I'm just going to go ahead and record something in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can tell, at the end of the pattern here, I matched up this bass hit with that hi-hat and bass drum hit. So I just copied that bass line. Now we're going to come up with a bass line for pattern number 2 here, which is this. Remember, this is the one with that kick drum and open hi-hat on the E of 4 rather than the and of 4 with that kind of sense of urgency. So let's go into our bass line and play with that a bit. All I'm going to do is move this last note here that lined up originally in pattern 1 with that kick and open hi-hat. I'm going to move it 1/16th note back to the E of 4 so it also lines up with our new placement for the kick and the open hi-hat. So I'm going to untie this note here and I want to move this right here. There we go, and I'm going to stretch it through the end of the phrase. Let's have a listen. Hear the difference? It's 1/16th note earlier, and the kick and hi-hat perfectly line up with that bass note. Let's switch back to pattern number 1, and then we'll go to pattern number 2 right after it, and you can hear the difference. It's a small attention to detail thing that often gets glossed over, but not repeating these fills, and by extension, not repeating the exact same, bass lines in this example, goes a long way in improving our music. Let's make one more bass line for pattern number 3 here, shall we? So let's have a listen to just the drums. So da-ka-da-ka-da-da-da. Cool. We can work with that, right? So let's go into our bass here and da-ka-da-ka-da-da-da. I think I want to walk up chromatically with those 2 hi-hat hits at the end. So ba-ba-ba. Yeah, so we'll take these off. Let's have a listen. Yeah, now let's listen to all 3 of our patterns. Feels like it's begging for pattern 4 to be used now, doesn't it? Let's have a listen to pattern 4. So that's a bit faster than I want the bass to move. I think I just want to go ba 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 ba. Just square on the beat. Take all of these off here. Let the drums be the busy thing over a really simple bass part. Cool, let's have a listen. Nice. Okay, let's listen to all 4 of our patterns now. Like I said, it may seem overwhelming and intimidating at first, but I promise you it will get easier and you will find it completely worth your time to challenge yourself to not repeat drum fills. I do hope you found this video informative or at least entertaining. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If not, you can always hit the dislike button. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. New content every single day. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.